Hello again. My name is Joanne Snap. I am the founder of My Honest Advisor, and this is Impression Management Part 2. So, I was talking last time about how self-awareness is so important when it comes to managing others' impressions. And when we're creating your entire application, it's important that we are aware of how they are perceiving you as a whole. So they are going to read your personal statement and they're going to get a good sense of what you want to do in your future through your stories and your statements. So remember, we show and tell in our personal statement. And then in our experience descriptions, this is where a lot of the impression management comes from, because this is where you're telling them. You're telling them what you did and you're telling them what you learned. In your little bitty 700 or 600 character descriptions, you are not telling a story. There is no way to tell a story in a 700 character description. So you are going to tell your stories in your meaningful descriptions. For AMCAS, you have 3 of them. But in the 700 character descriptions, you are going to intentionally think about what are they taking away from each experience. That is impression management. That's managing how people understand you. They understand what you're good at. They understand your skill set, your competencies, your attributes. So that's what impression management is on some level, is like just making sure that you're in control of how people understand you. And it even goes as far as like thinking about your 6 paragraphs, because we have our 3 paragraphs in our personal statement, right? Your intro and your 2 body paragraphs. And then you have your 3 paragraphs in your experiences, your meaningful. So you have 6 paragraphs to manage their impression of who you are. How do we figure out, like, how do we show who we are? Well, we have to show your thoughts. We have to show your behavior. We have to show your decision making. Who you are is not your accomplishment. I need that to really sink in deeply. Who you are is not how many publications you have. It is not how important your lab was. It is not all the checklists. Look how big and important I am. Who you are is how you respond to someone, what you notice about people, your intentions, whether you can reflect on a mistake well. It's how well you take direction. It's how you see the world and how you treat other people. That's what they're looking for. So people are so confused about what they should be showing, and they're showing me, they're just writing their whole statement and they're saying at the end, I'm so glad I got to make this big impact on the community. I cringe. I am not kidding. Physical reaction. I'm so glad that I am so important. No, absolutely not. That is creating the impression in someone that you think you're really important, which is not a really likable quality in someone. And that you lack self-awareness. Instead of just saying, like, I'm glad I got to do this really important thing, you could have used that space to say, doing this thing really taught me how much food insecurity exists in the community, inspiring me to want to continue to partner with local organizations to address this issue. That's something you learned. That would have been a good takeaway, instead of look how big and important I am. So the impression management is, we need to create the impression that you are a nice, good person, not that you are a pretentious, self-important person. So that is part 2. We'll see if I think of a part 3. But if you need help managing your impression, having an honest advisor who has the guts to tell you, your app is screaming self-importance, I think is really good. If you have people who are too afraid to point that out to you because they don't want to hurt your feelings, that is you're gonna go through the process, and the people reading your app are gonna think it anyway. So either an advisor is gonna tell you, or someone else is gonna read it and think it and just say no. You get to decide.